How to break free from your conditioning. Jung. What if most of what you call you is a museum exhibit curated by people who never knew your name? Imagine the display: a childhood kitchen, a father's sigh folded neatly, a teacher's red pen framed on the wall, a slogan from a commercial like a bright banner. You wander through, nodding, feeling oddly touched by things you don't remember choosing. And then you walk out into the world believing you've chosen them. What if freedom isn't about doing whatever you want, but discovering which wants were smuggled into you while you were asleep? There's a moment so small we usually miss it. You're in a grocery store, staring at a shelf of cereal, fingers resting on a familiar brand. Your hand reaches before your mind speaks. The box lands in the cart with the quiet clunk of destiny. Later, you'll tell yourself you prefer that one. But somewhere in the muscle and the memory is the echo of a cartoon jingle, a mother's bargain, a sweet temporary piece you bought for $1.99. This is the shape of conditioning: quiet, pervasive, intimate. It is the condensation on the glass of your attention. The world outside still exists, but you no longer see it straight. Carl Jung didn't start with a theory. He started with a disturbance. He saw men and women tangled in compulsions that had their own weather, an entire climate that shifted behind the face, behind the name. He noticed it in himself. A respectable doctor with a clever mind and a reputation to defend, and yet he couldn't deny the dream's oceans rising. Europe flooded with blood years before the war broke like a fever. To understand himself, he had to go inside his own storm. He stepped off the safe road of consensus and wandered into the forest. He called it a science because he didn't know what else to call a man trying to have a conversation with the night. Conditioning is not simply what your parents taught you. It is the deep choreography of the body and the mind, the neural grooves, the cultural spells, the family weather system, the inherited silence. It is the infection of our century, fast, invisible, dressed as normality. It is also old as stone. People have always traded parts of themselves for belonging, always worn the mask that kept them from exile, always polished the mask and forgot the face beneath. Jung gave our masks a name, the persona. We think it's who we are, because the world shakes our hand and smiles at it, pays it, promotes it, marries it. Yet the persona is skin that keeps the rain off. If you live inside it for too long, it becomes your house. Houses are good. They keep you warm. But without opening the door, you forget the horizon. You forget the wind. You forget yourself. He also named what we banish, the shadow. Not a monster tucked in a corner, but a living room full of exiled relatives' anger you never let yourself feel, because good people don't. Tenderness. You learn to hide because strong people never cry. Ambition that you kept in a box because you were told it was ugly, and the softness you were shamed for wanting. The shadow contains everything that would have made your life larger if only you had been allowed to keep it. When the shadow is far from home, it does not disappear. It finds you anyway, in your choice of partner, in your enemies, in the leader you hate, in the friend you quietly envy, in the moments when your hand reaches for the cereal and you swear it was your idea. There's a kind of audacity in asking, how do I break free? Because it implies there is a you that can be freed. Jung would say there is, but it is not the one you think. Beneath the persona, behind the shadow, below the cultural flood, is a river that belongs to you and no one else. He called the journey to that river individuation, the development of a pattern that is deeply your own, the slow remembering of the person who has been trying to meet you your entire life. This is not self-improvement. It is not a set of habits. It is not a perfect morning routine or a life hack. It is why your life keeps knocking on your door at inconvenient times and why you keep pretending you're not home. If you want to break free from your conditioning, Jung's answer is not polite. You will not be rewarded for obeying your conditioning more cleverly. You will not be praised by the parts of you that profit from your compliance. You will be spoken to by something that doesn't care how you look, or what they think, or whether it sells. The unconscious and old, impolite, honest guest will bring a dream, a symptom, a conflict that interferes with your plans. That interference is a message. The dream might show you hunting for a key in a house that isn't yours. The symptom might force you to rest because you refuse to let your body have a say. The conflict might feel like a betrayal when a part of you refuses to keep playing by rules it never agreed to. We call it bad luck. Jung called it a conversation. We are not just conditioned by our families. We are conditioned by history. Jung watched Europe wearing a mask of reason, while underneath, the collective shadow gathered like thunder. He saw a continent's dreams and knew they were not only personal. He knew the human mind has a wider landscape than our literature of productivity allows. The collective unconscious myths older than our alphabet, symbols that wake similar responses in tribes that never met, does not disappear because we have new phones. The gods don't die. They change their clothes. We begin to worship markets, celebrities, wars on things. We call it progress, and perhaps it is, but progress has a shadow the size of a planet. If you don't learn to see it in yourself, you become an instrument of it without knowing. There's something merciful about the fact that the path forward is ancient. The old instruction is simple. Descend. Notice what you've been ignoring. Speak with what you fear. Let the exiles back in. Offer them bread, not a prison. You will not stop being conditioned by entering the woods, but you will stop being a captive. You will begin to negotiate with your fate instead of being dragged by it in your sleep. Tonight, just before bed, ask a small question with real sincerity. Show me what I've been trained to forget. Write whatever comes in the morning, even if it is ridiculous. Especially if it is ridiculous. You are not making content. You are making contact. This is how Jung began. Not with a perfect explanation, but with a willingness to be embarrassed by the truth. Breaking free from conditioning will not make you superior. It will make you honest. It will make you more difficult to manage in the best way. And it will give back something you didn't know you lost, your own voice, old and new at once, the one that speaks like wind over a lake in winter. Listen carefully. You can hear it now, faintly, underneath the traffic of your thoughts, calling you by your actual name. It starts as a suspicion and grows into a demand. Why do I say yes when I mean no? Why do certain faces set off alarms inside me? Why do I fall in love with the same person wearing different clothes over and over, like a myth on repeat? When your life becomes a riddle, you're closer to freedom than you think. Riddles are the mind's way of wrapping a blade in cloth. Let's follow two shadows to the kitchen table where they were born. A daughter hears the phrase, "You're the responsible one," and learns to smile while small fires burn in her chest. Years later, she will be praised for her calm under pressure, for her patience, for her reliability. People will say, "I don't know what we'd do without you," and she will glow and then resent them quietly. Rage will visit her in dreams as a silver wolf staring through glass. she will assume the wolf is dangerous. She'll be half right. The danger is not in the wolf. It's in the glass. A son hears, real men don't need help, and builds a persona out of iron filings. He attracts storms. They bounce off. He sweat welds a life together and mistakes the feeling of never falling apart for strength. When his hands begin to shake, he will grip them harder. When his back gives out, he will treat it like a negotiation. In his dreams, a tidal wave appears on the horizon every night. He never drowns. He always wakes up before the water arrives. There is a terror in living just before the truth. These are not stories of bad parents. They are stories of human weather, passed down like recipes. Conditioned people condition people. We inherit vows we don't remember signing. I will not be a burden. I will never be like him. I will earn their love by earning everything. The vows go underground. They become the grammar of our choices. They write the emails. They choose the friends. They say yes in our mouth. We call it personality. Jung sat with 1,000 such patterns until he noticed something. It isn't just that trauma forms grooves. It's that emotion organizes into living knots with their own charge. He called them complexes, not the casual adjective, but a cluster of images, words, sensations, and expectations that behave like a subpersonality, not a flaw, a fact. You watch yourself from outside as you repeat something you promised never to repeat. You are present, and somehow you are not. The complex picked up the steering wheel. You're still in the car. It's just not you driving. There are ways to meet these drivers without crashing. One is to track where your certainty spikes. The intense judgment you feel for that colleague who overshares. The inexplicable attraction to chaos. The instant authority you give a stranger because they remind you of an early teacher. Projection is the shadow's courier. We send out into the world what we can't stand to experience within. That's why a man who cannot tolerate weakness despises it everywhere. He has a canary in his lungs singing the song of collapse, and he can't bear to hear it. The secret is not to become morally superior. The secret is to take back the courier with a quiet thank you and ask what package they brought. Sometimes the package is a dream. Jung's counsel was rude to daylight. Respect your dreams as if a country with different laws is writing you letters. You don't need to become a priest of symbolism. You don't need to turn your life into a puzzle. You need to want to understand. If you dream of a locked room in your childhood home, don't Google it. Go back there in your mind with a flashlight. Stand in the hallway without forcing the door. Ask what you're not allowed to see. Wait. The unconscious does not respond to bribery, but it does respond to attention that feels like love. Jung's own attention opened a door he could not then close. He broke with Freud, not only for theoretical reasons, but because the truth he encountered did not obey Freud's furniture. The mind was not just a pressure cooker of impulses. It was a cathedral and a cave. In his red book, he wrote and painted and spoke with figures who behaved like gods and beggars, as real as worry. In that underworld, he met his own rage, desire, love, ambition, and fear, but also something impersonal that moved through them. The imaginal is not pretend. It is an organ of knowledge the modern mind keeps trying to amputate. We are poorer for it. Meanwhile, the world he lived in was building its own mask. Reason became a weapon. Ideologies hardened into liturgy. Jung saw a collective complex forming, an archetype of the hero turning into war. He watched the shadow break out, and call itself destiny. A continent loves its reflection too much and eventually starts punishing the mirror. He didn't say this from a mountain. He said it with paint on his hands and panic in his chest. He embodied a paradox. The more he descended into his singular soul, the more he encountered forces that were not personal at all. That's the secret tunnel in the labyrinth. Your most private conditioning ties you to an ancient human pattern. If you can see it, you can step aside when it wants to turn you into its instrument. This is where suspense meets responsibility. If our inner weather is not only ours, then healing isn't a consumer product. It's a civic act. The woman who befriends her wolf does not simply feel better. She becomes less available to demagogues who promise to tame her for a price. The man who lets himself ask for help does not simply stop trembling. He becomes less likely to outsource his vulnerability to others with violence. Recovered shadows don't need to be cast on to neighbors. They can do their job at home, which is to strengthen you without turning you into an enemy of everything that isn't you. How do you proceed? Start by violating your own script gently. If you are the responsible one, experiment with a small, conscientious no. Not a tantrum, a refusal. Notice the terror that rises, the guilt that acts like nausea. It won't kill you. It isn't alarm, it's memory. Stay. If you are the Iron Man, ask someone you trust for something small. Watch how humiliating it feels to be human. The humiliation is a door to a field you forgot. On the other side of it is a kind of strength that has nothing to prove, a spine with muscles that can bend without breaking. Conditioning lives in language. Listen to the sentences that lock you up. I have to. I always. They'll never. I can't stand it when. They sound like facts, but they're fictions with excellent PR. Replace one with a question that does not flatter your fear. Do I? Always? Never? What exactly can't I stand? Interrogate without violence. Curiosity is not neutral. It's insurgent. It recruits the parts of you aligned with something more honest than your history. You will not be alone in this. The flood of the collective is strong. Your feed will serve you stories designed to keep you inside your mask. It makes you predictable. And predictable people are easy to sell to and easy to govern. The algorithm has its own archetypes. It will offer you a hero narrative, a victim narrative, a savior narrative, all of them soothing if you're tired enough. Remember what the old stories teach. A hero is never who he thinks he is. He wins not by the sword he sharpened, but by recognizing the stranger he ignored. Here is the turn in the labyrinth you don't expect. The enemy is not your conditioning. The true trap is your identification with it. Anything you tightly identify with becomes a prison without bars. I am the kind one. I am the rational one. I am the broken one. I am the creative one. These identities feel like anchors, but often they are ankle weights. Jung's revelation was not to throw them away. It was to see through them. You are not your persona, not your trauma, not your talents. You are the one who can hold them without drowning. When the old alchemists heated their flasks, they weren't just trying to turn base metal into gold. They were projecting a dream into matter, working as spiritual chemistry in the lab of the world. Jung studied their symbols and read them like a diary of transformation, what he called the stages of blackening, whitening, and reddening, the nigredo, albedo, and rubedo. The nigredo is the dark, the breakdown, the confusion when your old life's scaffolding collapses and you stand in the soot. The albedo is the washing clean, the slow clarification, the moonlit awareness that replaces certainty with an attentive whiteness. The rubedo is the integration, the reddening, the life that returns to your veins when the heart remembers what it's for. These aren't steps to complete in a weekend. They are weather patterns of the soul. If your conditioning has been your sky for decades, then the grado will feel like failure. You'll say things like, "I'm falling apart," and in a sense, you are. The part that's falling apart is the structure that no longer keeps you safe because safety became a cage. When you feel this, don't reach for a fix. Reach for a friend, a therapist, a ritual. Create a stable container where instability can speak without being medicated into silence. Jung advised conversation with the inner figures themselves. This is what he called active imagination. It's not planning. It's not fantasizing. It's a true meeting between your conscious mind and the images and voices that emerge when you allow the unconscious to speak. Sit in a quiet room, pen in hand. Call the wolf from your dream. Ask it why it stares. Don't force it to be nice. Don't force yourself to be in charge. Wait until the answer comes, and when it does, write it down as if you were recording testimony from a witness at the edge of town. Maybe the wolf says, "I am the part of your anger that knows you are alive." Maybe the wave says, "Stop resisting the fact that you are tired. Let me wash you onto a shore where you move without pretending." You will be tempted to dismiss this as childish. That's the persona, embarrassed by anything it cannot control. Let it be embarrassed. Embarrassment is a sign that your life is returning. As you practice, you'll notice a strange phenomenon. The world around you starts to rhyme with you. Just when you wrestle with whether to say no, your bus breaks down and you must call a friend for a ride. Just when you admit you've been living someone else's ambition, you run into a mentor who names the thing you couldn't. Jung used the term synchronicity for this, the meaningful coincidence, the meeting between inner and outer, without the bridge of obvious cause and effect. Do not turn it into superstition. Don't turn it into law. Let it be wonder. Let it reassure you that you are not doing this alone, that the world you thought was hostile is at least listening, occasionally nodding, sometimes smiling, always present. If your life is a mine where certain scenes are overworked and others untouched, then projection is your clue to unexplored ore. Every time you fixate on someone with a special mixture of love and hate, you're probably meeting a disowned piece of yourself on a stage in the street. Your jealousy of a friend's courage might be your cowardice asking for a chance. Your contempt for a public figure's grandiosity might be your suppressed ambition malnourished into sarcasm. But be careful. Not everything you dislike about others is your shadow. Some people are truly doing harm. Differentiation is the art. Jung said the self doesn't ask you to become naive. It asks you to become precise. The question is not, is it me or them? The question is, how much is me? How much is them? And what does my next honest action require? Freedom isn't a feeling. It's a sequence of true actions taken in the presence of fear. Anima and animus Jung's words for the inner contrasexual figures will show up as well. If you've been taught to amputate your softness because you're a man, your anima might arrive in dreams as a woman who knows how to listen to trees. If you've been trained to excise your assertiveness because you're a woman, your animus might appear as a man in a coat who walks into the room and tells the truth without apologizing. These figures don't belong to genders. They belong to the human archetype. You become whole not by owning your category, but by welcoming the parts of you, your category for bad. The goal is not to be balanced like a scale, but alive like a river swollen at the right times. disciplined when needed, and always moving. Family is a country with unspoken laws. One law might be, we don't talk about him. Another, we always pretend we're fine. Another, we sacrifice one member so the rest can feel pure. These laws are enforced with sighs more than sentences. When you break one, you might feel a terror that does not match the act. That's how you know you're not just dealing with your own nervous system. You're crossing a border, and your ancestors' border guards are very good at their jobs. Light a candle for them. Thank them for surviving as best they knew. Then inform them that the laws are changing. They may not applaud, but they cannot stop you. Culture is a family of families, with television as a tide, algorithms as lullabies, news as an intravenous fear drip. We are conditioned by the speed at which stimulation arrives. We are conditioned by a theater of outrage that sells tickets to our amygdala. We are trained to confuse visibility with value, and the public with the real. Here the inner work returns to its civic dimension. Every time you choose depth over display, you help reweave a net that can catch more truth. Every time you endure the quiet of not posting your pain for approval, you build a room in the world where honesty can breathe. Jung's private descent becomes a public service. It will not feel heroic. It will feel like taking out splinters that have been under your skin so long you forgot a life without them. The splinter of earn your oxygen. The splinter of your needs are a crime. The splinter of be interesting so they won't leave. Slide them out slowly, sometimes with help. Name the pain and name the original hand that slid the splinter in, not to punish, to stop repeating the curse. Breaking free does not mean burning down everything conditioning has built. Some of those walls kept you alive. Keep the ones that keep danger out. Open the windows that keep air out. The difference emerges in your body as you experiment. A prison tightens when you tell the truth. A shelter relaxes. Trust this. Your nervous system learns quicker than your mind. Remember this. You cannot become unconditioned. That is not the aim. The aim is to become conditioned by something worthy the pattern that runs through you like your own signature, the path that fits your feet and no one else's, the life that, when you live it, makes other lives more possible. Individuation is not selfish. It is a refusal to remain trapped in a script that keeps producing pain in the name of belonging. It is the creation of a different kind of belonging, one based on reality, not performance. Somewhere between who you promise to be and who you are, there is a cemetery of unlived lives. Names on stones. The musician you silenced because a parent needed quiet. The mother you might have been if you had not inherited the fear of disappearing. The scholar who stayed in the closet under the stairs because you couldn't afford to know that much. The lover who used to show up in your daydreams before duty won the argument. If you're listening closely, you can hear them whispering, not to condemn you, to be remembered, to be buried properly or revived. Jung understood grief is not a detour. It's a rite of passage. When you realize a decade was shaped by a lie, you will want to recoup it immediately with a different truth. Don't sit with the cost. Mourning is what turns a lesson into growth instead of compensation. Cry for the youth you traded for an image. Cry for the dreams you wouldn't let yourself have because you were too busy keeping the roof from falling. Cry for the years you performed happiness so well you almost fooled yourself. Tears won't fix time. They will connect you to it. Without grief, freedom is a posture. With grief, freedom is a practice. As you grieve, Anger will knock. Many of us are terrified of anger because we learned it was a hurricane. But Jung would ask, what if anger is also a boundary, a river finding its banks? The wolf returns, this time not to break the glass, but to stand beside you as you inform the world of your limits. You are not wrong to have them. The conditioning that kept you pleasant was a survival strategy. It deserves a medal and a retirement. Give it both. Throw a little party for the self that was loyal to the mask because it thought the mask was a life raft. Then let the raft float away. You can swim now. You will likely face loneliness. Individuation strips you of your favorite disguises, and some relationships depended on them. People will ask where the old you went. You may get invited to fewer rooms and to truer ones. In the quiet between, you'll hear the background noise you've been using to cover the hum of your soul. It will frighten you at first. Eventually, it will become music. Build rituals to carry you through. Not grand ones necessarily. A walk at the same hour. A candle you light before you write down your dreams. A bowl of water near your desk to remember the wave. Rituals protect the fragile beginnings of a new self from the old self's urge to prove something. Forgiveness is part of this. Do not turn it into performance. Forgiveness without defenses is a fantasy and a trap. You don't owe the people who built your mask your silence. You owe them the truth in a form that does not destroy you. When you're ready, tell them what you learned. When you're not, write them a letter you do not send. Either way, forgive them in your heart for not being gods. They were people asleep inside their own conditioning, doing their best with the tools they were allowed. Forgive yourself for thinking you could solve everything by being good. Being good is wonderful. Being whole is better. The world will test your new edges. Opportunities will arrive that smell like your old cage, dressed in premium fabric. Love will knock wearing the face of your pattern. Money will whisper with the exact tone your fear understands. Test each with a simple question. Does this require me to pretend? If the answer is yes, say no, even if your hands shake. The shaking will pass. The self that shakes is shedding a skin. Sometimes the unconscious will bring you a dream that looks like a movie because it needs you to pay attention. A house on fire, a child in the basement, a highway stretching into the dark. Your job is not to decode these as if they were secret messages you can master. Your job is to be moved by them, to ask why the child is in the basement, to climb down with a rope made of your new honesty, to bring the child upstairs and let her sit at the table where you eat real food. If you keep doing this, your days change. You will notice yourself saying something you are afraid to say. You will maintain eye contact with someone who used to intimidate you. You will not apologize for existing at the exact moment you typically would. These are small acts. They are also enormous. At a certain point, the question of fate will circle you. If so much of your life has been scripted by forces you didn't choose, what is left of destiny? Jung would smile and say, enough. Fate is the name we give to the parts of our story that are non-negotiable. You were born into that family, in that town, within that history. You carry those bones, those biochemistries, those instincts. Destiny is what you do with it when you know. The difference between the two can be felt in the body. Fate feels like a weight you drag. Destiny feels like a wind you lean into. Both are real. One shrinks you. One opens you. What about evil? Jung refused pretty answers. He knew the human psyche has rooms that most religions and democracies are afraid to name. Your shadow contains not just repressed virtues, but also impulses you must not enact. Freedom does not mean indulging every drive in the name of authenticity. It means acknowledging the drive, understanding what it wants, giving it a job that harms no one, and building a life in which the energy that once threatened to destroy you is harnessed for creation. The artist who paints their darkness doesn't sanctify it, they sublimate it. The citizen who turns rage into organizing doesn't glorify rage, they make it useful. This is the moral labor of individuation. To become charged without becoming dangerous, to be intimate with your depths without letting them colonize the surface. The most difficult part might be the quiet happiness that arrives when you stop looking at yourself as a problem to solve. Something like innocence returns. Not the innocence of ignorance, the innocence of a person who knows what they are and is no longer performing for ghosts. Your laugh changes. You no longer laugh to say, "Don't be afraid of me." You laugh because you aren't afraid of yourself. Your work sharpens. You don't need every eye. You need your eye clear. You gather with people who choose the same difficulty, and the room becomes soft with the kind of trust that doesn't need many words. If you want a compass to carry into the years, let it be this: choose what increases reality. Whenever you're unsure about speaking, committing, leaving, ask which option increases reality in your life, not ease. Conditioning prefers ease. Reality makes you more alive. It might break your heart. It will knit it back differently, with stronger thread. Jung didn't promise happiness. He promised meaning, which is heavier and more durable, the kind of weight that helps you stand. Tonight, when you go to bed, the same old room will be waiting. The same clock, the same fabric of the ceiling, the same phone on the nightstand, full of other people's opinions. But something is different now. There is a door in the corner you couldn't see before. It leads down, not out. If you open it, a draft will rise cool, smelling of roots and rain. You will hesitate because your mask doesn't like the dark. That's all right. Masks were designed for light. Take it off. Hang it on the hook by the door. It's been faithful. You can put it on in the morning if you need it for work. Tonight, go down. On the landing, you'll find 3 chairs. On one sits the child who learned to please. On the second sits the one who learned to fight. On the third sits the one who learned to vanish. You might have alternate versions. Sit with them. Ask them what they saved you from. Thank them. They'll look at you like wild animals who don't trust the food you're offering. Keep your hands open. Tell them the truth. You're not here to erase them. You're here to make sure they don't have to guard the door alone anymore. When they relax, you will feel something click in your chest, like a bone going back into place. Further down, there's a pool of water black enough to make you nervous. This is where your dreams come from. Kneel. Speak the question you've been circling. What have I been trained not to know? Wait, the water doesn't answer on command. Then maybe a ripple, a face, a word that doesn't make sense yet. Write it down. It will make sense when you need it. The unconscious has timing. It's a farmer, not a machine. It refuses to ship overnight. When you wake, the world will look the same. Cars, sidewalks, other people's lives moving like rivers in the distance. But you will have a secret that isn't a secret at all. You are not beholden to the old rules. You can say no and live. You can say yes and mean it. You can disappoint someone and remain legitimate. You can want what you want and take responsibility for the wanting. When you mess up, as you will, you can apologize without treating your existence as the offense. Failing will become less like a verdict and more like a teacher with a stern face and a generous curriculum. The cereal aisle will still be there. You'll reach for the old brand out of habit. Pause. Feel your hand. Consider the jingle. Consider your mother's bargain. Smile. Maybe you buy the same box anyway because it reminds you of Saturdays with cartoons and the sound of your brother's feet running down the hall. Maybe you try another because today you're curious. The point is not the cereal. The point is the pause. The point is that you are awake in a place people sleepwalk through. If you want a practice that will quietly revolutionize your life, keep a notebook by your bed and write down one dream a week. Don't analyze it to death. Note the images. Note how it made you feel. Ask what part of you is speaking. If you want to go further, pick one figure in the dream and talk to it with pen and paper. Ask it what it wants from your waking life. Act on one small request if it harms no one. This builds trust with the part of you that has been trying to help despite your schedule. Find a symbol that belongs to your journey, a stone that feels like a friend in your pocket, a phrase that reorients you when the day starts to turn you into content. Symbols don't explain. They gather you. When you're about to do something because you think you have to, touch the stone, say the phrase. Remember that a life can be rearranged. Rearrangement is not chaos. It's choreography adjusted to fit the dancers that actually exist, not the ones you auditioned for your dream of control. Join or create a room where truth is not punished. A little reading group where you share the weirdness in your notebooks. A conversation with one honest person every 2 weeks where you admit where you're lying to yourself. A therapist if you can afford it, or the cheapest version of therapy we have. Time spent alone without distractions until the deeper voice has a chance to speak. Do not seek 90 tips. Seek one practice you can repeat for a decade. Sincerity trumps tactics. You are not optimizing your output. You are befriending your soul. You will falter. Some days you will perform without knowing until bedtime. Some nights you'll dream nothing. Some mornings you'll hear the old song in your bones. You are who they say you are. On those mornings, sit quietly and watch your breath come and go. Your breath doesn't believe in that song. It believes in exchange. Out with what no longer serves. In with what can feed you. Do this for 3 minutes or 10. Long enough to remember that the body is your oldest teacher and the only place freedom happens. At the end, breaking free is a misnomer. There will be no final escape. No fireworks over the prison yard. There will be a relationship with your own depths that deepens as you live. Some seasons you will descend again. Some seasons you will rise, red, warmed by a sun that feels like your own. Courage is not a mood. It's a promise you keep with yourself when the mood breaks. You will keep it imperfectly. Good. Perfection is a mask too. There is one more figure waiting in the room, at the bottom of the stairs. You didn't see them at first because they look like you, older. They will not tell you a secret. They will do something more dangerous. They will hand you a key you already have and say, use it. They have a scar in the same place where you do. They are proof that your life can hold its contradictions without exploding. They are not your future. They are your capacity, standing there in plain clothes like a stranger you feel you've met before. If you listen, the world is full of keys. A dream, a conflict, a love, a boundary, a book left on a bench at the exact moment you're ready to read it. The question is not whether they exist. The question is whether you will use your hands. If this opened your eyes, subscribe to Boring History, because the truth is never boring.